All right. Wait another minute or two for people to come in. In case you forgot, today is our retrospective. It's been, let's see, like 5 months? January, February, March, April, May. Yeah, like 5 months since we did our last retrospective. So a good time to do one. As well, I would say that we finished kind of our build for launch phase of the product, um, as we are now in public beta. So it's a good time to get back together and just dust off our plan to make sure we're doing all the right things. So the retrospective is kind of part of that as well, as we want to kind of understand our team sentiment and get some feedback before I kind of start updating milestones and updating other things. It would be silly to update that stuff before we had a little bit of sentiment. So retrospectives are good for our reflection. All right. Well, let's get into it. Winverse, are you? Don't know, a retrospective is an agile project management tool that we use to continually improve. And that's the kind of goal of an agile team, is to always be improving. The intent of this retrospective is to reflect on the time between now and the previous sprint and identify opportunities for our own growth, our own improvement. We're going to talk about our goals, things that went well, things that we could have done better, open questions that we don't have the answers to, and ways to improve. And to get the most out of this session, be honest and open. All perspectives are valid and valuable. If you are thinking something, chances are that someone else is probably thinking it too. And you being open with it gives the opportunity for someone else to agree with you. And worst case, I mean, the worst case is that you're the only one feeling it. But even so, you are a valuable member of this team, and so it's really good to get that out there. So be honest and open, and also let's try to reserve judgment. We're going to try to listen. We're going to try to avoid solutioning as we are going through our pluses and deltas, and really just try to hear what the problem is and document what that problem is. We will have a time for a little bit of solutioning, high level solutioning down at the bottom of this page, but I think most of the solutioning is going to happen after this meeting. Because it takes time to think about that. So really, this retrospective is for kind of writing down those problems. But first, we're going to try to get on the same page. So we're going to take a look. This is how I'm looking at our product development. Validation, this phase was rather long for us. It started in 2021, or even sooner actually, and it lasted until 2023, about September. Built for launch in September 2023. We said, hey, we're going to build something for the end of the year. Turns out that it took us until just recently, last week, to really get something out for the public. And now that we have it, we're into the build for fit phase. So you probably heard of this idea of product market fit, the elusive product market fit. So I think that term is really misunderstood, but ultimately product market fit is really just a predictable way to drive revenue. That's one way of looking at it. Another way to look at it, some people look at it as people are pulling the product out of you faster than you can produce it. So that's another thing for a product market fit. Personally, I really just think it is having a certain audience who, oh, shoot, I'm not sharing my screen. Thank you, Tom. I really appreciate that. I was going through this as if I was sharing my screen. Okay, now you can see it. Yes, that should be helpful. Appreciate that, Tom. Yeah, so in the build for fit phase, this is like kind of my product development life cycle. Build for fit, we're aiming to get to that product market fit. And really what we're aiming to do is to have a certain audience, a certain group of people who are using our product regularly and enjoying it, right? Like the idea, I mean, I think you've probably heard me say in the past that my career goal is to build a product that millions of people love. And product market fit is really just getting to the phase where some number of people love our product. And the intent for us, or our next goal, at least the one that we have written down, is to get 1,000 weekly transacting users. So that's what we're aiming to do. This build for fit phase could last a couple years. It could be that it could last a couple weeks. It could just be that we have something that really resonates with people. We're not sure. So that build for fit phase, we shall see how long it lasts. But after you get fit, It's more about maintenance. If you're not continually expanding the product, you're in maintenance mode. And then finally, every product has an end. And at that moment, there may be a time when we decommission this product. And that is kind of the regular life cycle of a product. And for us, we're right in the middle. So not bad at all. Top level metrics since January 2024, we have $3,000 of transaction volume, 47 users, 2 communities deployed, 21,000 OP, and around 2,500 from Gitcoin, and 10 million NOGs that we have in our treasury. So this is all incoming treasury stuff that happened in the last couple weeks. We have an app ready for public consumption, and we changed our brand from Bankless Card to bCard. So lots of work that we did in the last season, which is about 5 months, so really great there. Themes from the last retro, you can get deeper into it. There's a link to the last retrospective here at the top of the page if you want to take a look. But I summarized some of these themes. On the plus side, we had a strong supportive team, and we have had even some new strong contributors join since then. I named some: Arkusti, Blue Bear, Zudi, Brett, and more. So more contributors coming, and difficulty for new contributors to get up and running was a delta. I think that I don't know if we put a concerted effort towards it, but we certainly got some contributors up and running. So probably something we can still improve. Consistency of meetings and internal communications was a plus, but the consistency of our external communications wasn't as good. Now, I do think we've actually made some big strides here. We have 2 emails going out on a monthly basis at least, and sometimes more than once a month to our subscribers, and we also have one for our patrons. We started posting more on Warpcast and Twitter, so I think that our external communication has been getting better, including consistency. Now, on the plus side, tight timelines created some quick progress, but those tight timelines were also unrealistic, and we had some bad information which was relayed to our partners. I think that was related to our timeline in some ways. So we took a step back after our, let's say, Christmas sprint, and decided that we are going to take our time to ensure that this thing works as expected. In general, we want to have some sort of tension to help us to help inspire us and to help move us forward, but not too much tension to the point where it is unrealistic and stressful and unsustainable. So that is going to be a balance that we're going to have to strike. We had some great feedback on bCard and in real life events, and a delta was, can we use in real life more somehow? I do think that when you explain bCard to people in real life, it just makes sense to people. So we shall see how that works, but probably something to discuss. Another thing was a lack of clarity on product has made partnerships and design difficult to move forward. Certainly something that I think is still out there, although we have, I would say, clarified a lot of our product offerings through Transcard at least. So that has helped. And we did clarify our product offerings too, which I think has helped as well. Now we have those 2 product offerings, the community card or the communal card and the custom card. And the product team is mainly just development. Well, we have made some strides here. I would say it's still mainly development. It's me and Tom, but I think Blue Bear has consistently been coming out as well, and been helping on the product side, especially on the support side. We've had some help from people like Corrupted Pineapple and Brett and Zudi. So in general, we've had more. But I would say the core product team is really still me, Tom, and Blue Bear. So mainly just devs at this point, something we can probably still improve. Now, before we go any further, it is the question that I like to ask at every retrospective because I want to understand your sentiment. So when I call your name, please unmute and let me know, do you think bCard is going to work? Why don't we start with you, Blue Bear? What do you think?
I really do. I think that the use case is absolutely there. It's going to be a matter of finding enough communities and getting the word out and advertising so that we can get to that critical mass. But I still am very excited by the just by the use case and the capability of supporting a community. And I think the organic use case of being able to earn bank or earn a community token is something that just fits well with DAOs.
All right. And what about you, NF Thinker?
I think it's going to work. Oh, yes. We're still here, still building, 2 years on. And I think the key to our success is sustainability. We've proven time and time again that um, when things don't quite work how we thought they were going to work, we just rethink, we regroup, and we approach it from a slightly different angle. We're getting to the point of um, enabling and activating partnerships, which don't require a heavy lift from either side. And I think that once we find our stride with that, that's when we're going to start to see real growth.
Nice. All right. Christy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to work. And I think I like the way that being community focused differentiates bCard from the other alternatives out there. And I think there's strength in kind of focusing on that community aspect because it unlocks lots of opportunities in terms of partnerships, working with other communities to help the ecosystem in creative ways. I think that's kind of a neat aspect of bCard.
Nice. And Tom, what about you?
I think it's going to work because I'm using this card pretty much every other day, and I just sent some money via Stripe to my card, so hopefully it is going to work. But long term, I think that for sure it's going to work because if it isn't working, we will continue working to make it work. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Roast, how are you feeling?
Hey, well, I have no idea what the future holds. If I did, anyway, but when I talk to people, I get really good feedback, and I think that regardless of what the card or the product becomes, I think that the concept of what we're doing makes sense because it's something that resonates with people, and it also is familiar, familiar enough that it's not a huge leap to start thinking about this in a different way. And also it opens the conversation to a different way of thinking about your relationship with banks and middlemen and all of that. And even if you're talking to somebody that may not be ready for the community card, like I said, it opens up a conversation, I think, about things they may not have thought of before. In fact, now that I have a physical thing in my hand, or I can show it on my phone, like, see, it's in my wallet, this is a real thing. And Coffee Crush and I don't want to steal her thunder, but we were just having a conversation yesterday, over in another over at Eli 5, just a little couple of us were there, and we were mentioning to God, I'm losing his name. But anyway, Coco, okay. And he was working with IRL folks in his area, just trying to introduce them to concepts and stuff. We talked about bCard and how it can be implemented in a very small community, doesn't have to be customized, all that. And just that narrative and being able, the fact that it's able to be implemented in very small communities, I think it reduces the friction, it makes it more accessible. So anyway, I know that's a longer answer, but I don't know what the future holds, but based on the feedback I'm hearing from people when we do have conversations, that it may be a slow burn, but I think the narrative is there. And then when you look at other cards out there that may be having to change up how they're interacting with their processor and stuff, we are not unique in that regard. I just got an email yesterday or the day before from Juno that they've had some changes too. So this is a moving target, and I'm excited to be here, and it's from the ground up, and I think that's what resonates with people.
Nice. Thanks for that, Roast. Rayless, how are you doing? Do you think Bankless Card is going to succeed?
Well, my statement, I think, is unchanged from previous retrospectives. I need this product myself, and I am on the other side of the world from its availability at that moment, and that kills me a little bit because I wanna order it right now because it's finally live. And after the fact, it's been 2 years, I think almost exactly. Um, we started with just an idea. We like first year in East Barcelona, we were giving out cards and we were saying, yeah, we have this idea. That's it. And now to think that, yeah, you can go online, you can order it, it's live. It's a crazy proof of what we're able to do with like, we don't have any investors. We are community funded, and we are building this for a community. So it's like all the green flags in my book, and the method that I think the biggest proof of will this work is the method that Links you always say, and I'm using this to practice it in all of my private projects as well, because it's a golden nugget. Is that it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter about deadlines. It's just important that you make progress every week or every day, how small the time frames you want to put on it. But like, the fact that we are using this method and we are making progress every week is the reason that we are here after 2 years. So yeah, I do believe it will work. My statement is unchanged from every previous time you've asked this. And best of luck. Is just a numbers game from now. You just got to get the numbers up. That's it.
In some ways, it is a numbers game, and in some ways, the number is the number of hearts that we can turn. So yes, I'm very excited about that. Coffee Crusher, how about you?
Oh, well, that's kind of like playing on that number of hearts. So yes, heck yes, it will work. And the reason why is that the more that I get the sort of real life feedback from non-supporters, like people, and I mean by people that are the regular supporters that I hear from, that have nothing to do with. I'm thinking of that Gitcoin grant Twitter space thing that NF and I were on, and the guy was just like so excited, and it was like, it sort of blew me away, because it was like, because I kind of expected from people that kind of know and love us, but I thought, oh my God, this is somebody that has no connection to us, and so that for me really solidifies that it's going to work, because if that type of person can get excited, then just we can, like as Rand says, change a lot of hearts.
Amazing. All right. I just lost my place in people. All right. Well, we have a bunch of people who are just in the audience. I will invite you up to speak. I know Sean John can't actually come up, but Andy, do you want to tell us if you think bCard's going to work?
Well, if I wouldn't have believed it, I wouldn't be in the project. So I think it's going to work. I think also that a lot of pressure is on me and Rains to actually make the marketing and the video part very good, and as flattering that is, that a lot of the audience users that we're going to get is going to be from marketing. It's a lot of pressure too, but that's good, because bCard is something me and Rainus is of course very interested in, and we believe in it, so it has to work. It's gonna work. I actually believe it, not only saying it, because I mean, the people that we are in the team, and the people that every week, take time to work on this project, and till now, like, nobody's getting like a monthly salary or anything, but like everyone's interested. I mean, it's awesome. So I think it's gonna work. I don't doubt it. I just think it's just a matter of time, and that's all. So playing the long game here.
Amazing. Thanks, Andy. I appreciate that. And Ovsky, we're going around. I know you just joined, so I'll give you a little prime. We're going around asking our contributors one question. Do you think bCard is going to work? I'd love to hear your answer. Do you think bCard's going to work, Ovsky?
Hello, everyone. Sorry for being late, but I just want to say that I truly do see it very big vision into this. I see this is a very great product, and with such team behind all of this, I think we can do amazing. I'm very much positive about the outcome of bCard. So what I can say is just we'll keep the positive attitude, keep working hard, and the results will show itself.
Something my grandpa used to say is, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will watch themselves. So if we keep our positive attitudes, the results will show themselves. I think it's in a very similar vein. And Andy, for what you were saying around pressure, I mean, I think I brought it up earlier before you came. I think that there's a good tension to have, to give you some inspiration to get some stuff, to put a little fire under your butt. And there's a time when that can be too much. It's a balance that we have to strike as a team, to have enough pressure but not too much. And just so you know, I'm not. It's not that I'm expecting you guys to deliver 11,000 users or anything like that. That's just the hope that we will do as a team. And the intent is just do what you can do, and whatever you can't do, rely on your teammates to do that, right? And so a little bit of pressure is good. Too much pressure is unsustainable. So let's keep that in mind as we move forward. As for me, I certainly think that bCard is going to work. I think that over the last couple of years, we've had lots of ups and downs, and we've never been quite so poised to succeed as we are now. I said it to the product team at the product weekly this week on Monday. I've been part of a lot of products, and a good example, and a lot of these products, it's kind of just luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, right? And so for a product to work, you kind of prepare, and then an opportunity comes, and then all of a sudden you have exactly what you need, and it can kind of come overnight. So I was doing a daily deals app, and we had a couple hundred users, maybe max like 500 daily users at a time, and then all of a sudden a television show mentioned us, and then boom, we had 25,000 users overnight, and we retained like 15,000 of those users in the long term, and that was enough for us to pay for our entire team. So like in one day, essentially, we became sustainable, and it was all just because there was this opportunity that presented itself, and we had prepared ourselves to do that. So I do think that we have done a lot of the prep work. That is still ongoing. We are still doing a lot of that prep work to be ready for a larger audience. But as long as we keep preparing, when that opportunity comes, we'll be ready to take advantage, and that will be what people call luck. So I am very pumped about bCard, and I certainly think it's going to work. All right. Took a little bit longer than I thought, so let's get down into the retrospective. Here's where we're going to reflect on the previous season. I'm going to call out to people, if you haven't said it, feel free as well to write things in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat as well. We have two kinds of things you can say. Things that went well. These are pluses and deltas, things that could be improved, or things that could be improved. So anyone want to start? Anyone have any plus that they want to, any plus or delta that they want to call out? Feel free to unmute. Feeling shy? Oh, go ahead, Winverse.
Okay, yeah, I could go first. Yeah, so I think one thing that went well is our communication in terms of our appearance at events and getting the word and spreading the word, literally getting the word out there. We did well in that regard, meeting up with teams, IRL, and communicating effectively via Twitter and all of that. So I think that did go well. And I do think it can be improved as well. So yeah.
What can be improved? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I think our communications can be improved as well. Regardless of the fact that we did do well, I think there are areas we could improve, like getting the best out of some of these Web3 platforms. I know Farcast, I know you have you told me about like posting our community meetings over on Farcaster. I think that some of the things like little things like that on Farcaster will go far. So I think just utilizing some of these Web3 tools will be essential. So yeah.
Nice. I have another plus. I think that the fact that we have a public beta is huge. Now, in general, one of the things I mentioned is that, well, there's not a lot of reason for people to use it unless you're in nouns now, right? And you care about dogs. So that's the only reason to use it right now, and the invite codes aren't quite active. So we have a public beta, although it's not really that useful for people yet. When we get that frame out with claim codes and everything, then we could be there. But I do think it's still a big thing that we have a public beta. We have a card out there that people can use.
Yeah, kind of touching on that theme, that thread. I would say that we overcame quite a few challenges with our card issuer. They weren't set up to operate with somebody like us, and we kind of challenged their existing system and their existing tools that they had. So kudos go out to you, both you and Tom, for really pushing that with them, and we consistently met with them week after week, and not only helped them deliver what we needed, but we overcame the challenges to deliver something that they've never done before, and that's what enabled our card program specifically. It was way cheaper than launching with somebody like Marqeta or one of these other card issuers out there, and we now have something which works.
I'd like to piggyback and just say that, we just went through a survivability inflection point with the branding thing. I mean, this whole project could have just completely died about 3 months ago, right about the time we were getting with our processor, and it didn't. And I think that's something to celebrate. I mean, I know it's a little negative, but I mean, it's on balance, I think it's super positive, because frankly, when the whole branding thing started out, I just thought everything was going to die, and it didn't. And I think it's the Phoenix Rising thing. I think that could be part of the broader story too, as we get down the road, and look and have a retrospective again. It's like this was anyway, an existential moment that we survived.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
From a personal perspective, one of the things that I am most excited about is this is really the first team that I have worked on that has been asynchronous, and just learning the tools that are out there to support a team like that. All of the pieces, parts, and software that we have been able to implement, like Asana, like Tally, like all of the Notion pieces. I was not aware of very many of these tools when I started, and it really does support a project like this. And I think that just from a Web3 perspective, deriving those sorts of tools to make these teams successful is very exciting for just the future of work in general, let alone a team like ours.
Yes, absolutely. One thing I'll say as a delta related to brand as well is that, like, I liked our brand Bankless Card. I'm not in love with bCard. I was in love with Bankless Card. I thought that was a great brand to use. Obviously, that brand is burned for us. Not in love with the new brand, and I want to love it. I do think that the work that Brett is doing around the branding will help us. But in general, yeah, I guess like bCard is less inspiring to me than Bankless Card. Maybe it's a little bit easier for people to understand when they don't need to like kind of deal with like what does Bankless mean, right? But like I think that I'm not in love with our new brand, and I really want to be in love with our brand. So that's a delta for me. So Corrupted, I see that you're back. What we're doing right now is sharing pluses and deltas. Pluses are things that we did well over the last couple of months. Deltas are things that we could do better.
I'm familiar with retros. I just haven't seen pluses and deltas or titled it that way before.
Yeah, I may be non-standard, but yes, feel free to unmute and share.
Cheers. I got nothing right now, but let me think.
I think another delta for me, and Arkisti has been helping me with this a little bit, is just like overall slowness, let's call it, on financial accounting, etc. Like I do think that like this is completely my fault, but it took me like 5 months to like it was 5 months between payrolls, right? Before I accounted for people's times and things like that. And it's just because I was really heads down. But I think that if we really want to like take it to the next level, I mean, first of all, we're going to have to do that monthly, at least for our users, because we're going to have to disperse rewards to them on a monthly basis. And so we're really going to have to improve on that. And second, I think it's actually like it turns into a competitive advantage when we can do this stuff a little bit faster with less fuss and muss, because that will allow us to attract and keep contributors, especially when we have like things like actual real money available. I think it will get people more able to contribute. So yeah, I'll write that down as well. I will put a plus around that too, though, that we actually filed our taxes on time in Panama and the USA. So that's pretty huge. I mean, it's not a small thing. And again, Arkisti, huge props to you for helping on that front. I think that was, I really needed it. And I think it made our team better in general.
I have a couple.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Okay, so what I think is really working is that we're attracting some really high quality contributors, and this team feels very stable in terms of people staying and working and really contributing. So I think it's a positive in terms of it just shows that there's it's a very unified group. So I love that. So I think that this whole thing about onboarding new contributors. I mean, it can still be improved, but I think it's sort of testament of that. So I'm very impressed with that. To go over sort of like when you were talking about the slowness, that's the one thing that I also agree. It's like not necessarily about. It's also if we go with as we start to increase the number of users or customers. We're going to have to find a way to automate it for those payouts, because that'll make a big difference. Because if those are delayed, that will be a brand perspective of our card.
Anything else, Pressure?
Yeah. One other thing is that I'm just very impressed. So it's a positive. I'm very impressed with sort of the resilience of NF with very high, high valued, but partners like Nouns that are taking a lot of time to, he's basically babysitting, but he's basically like, it's not an easy partner. And so if, that is a testament to him that, this is trying to get this for launch. So, and then it's just on the negative side to that, or the improvement side, is that the more we can automate ways to get things from partners, like I know NF is doing the onboarding, but as well as ways to sort of have automated ways to get things from them to do a launch. So it doesn't take as long and we're not waiting on partners and them doing things.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that like there's a bunch of things in flux, including the rewards and partnerships. Essentially, like the plan and I, Tom, have had on the rewards is let's do it manually first and then figure out a way to automate the manual process. I'm sure it's kind of the same thing on the partnership side. Let's do a couple manually, see what the and there are some quote unquote automated things already with the tally form, but this idea of making everything as efficient as possible, as automated as possible, whatever you want to call it, because we're a small team, it really behooves us to use technology to help us function. And if we can do that, we're going to be able to stay small, which I think really helps us in the long run. Anyone else have any pluses and deltas?
Hey, I'm Rain is here from Oski's phone because mine is dead. I wanted to add a few things on top of everything that's been said from the communications perspective. A few pluses. One, I really like how mine and Coffee Crushers co-working synergy has improved during this last period. With our extra few one-on-one meetings, I think we are covering each other's back. I have a feeling like that on all of the activities that have been and are yet to come, because the biggest is yet to come. And I wanted to say a huge plus to that. Another plus is we have this is on mine and Andy's and Ovsky's side. We have broken the curse of no videos. We have gotten to a place where we are quite efficient at script writing, and that links your input to say things accurately and precisely how they are. We might miss those small parts, but overall, we now are able to very efficiently and fast write scripts based on specific situations or that are happening, and then effectively film them quickly and edit them quickly as well. So that's big. We were in a bit of a pit with that part of our content strategy, but I feel that it is back up, and we're way more efficient than we were in the last retrospective. A minus on that part, I feel like we need way more content that we are generating.
We need way more what that we're generating? Content?
On content, like because we don't use traditional advertising. Content marketing is should be one of our strengths, and I don't think it is yet, but it's gonna be, no doubt, because that is the best efficient way to overflood the internet and to divert attention towards our product. And now that we have a product working where people can click on it, it is most definitely on the turning side. One more delta is I think we have to take a look at our email subscriber list system and how it is, and we need to change it because I feel it is very disconnected from the current ecosystem of app support site, website, and all of that. We have we don't have the landing pages in order, and that whole that whole situation has to be looked at and reorganized, because emails are very important, and we have quite an email list gathered up, and I don't want to use that, but I also don't want it to be working on like a side chain. that's not connected to the main ecosystem. Yeah, that's most of it for me.
All right, thanks for that, Rainus. Any other pluses or deltas that we have here?
I got a quick one that I just thought that there was a lot of that we were very patient throughout the last period, and there's a lot of opportunities to get frustrated and discouraged. And I thought that our patience and perseverance at pushing towards the end goal was great and kept us all moving towards the end result we're looking for.
Absolutely. I want to plus one that because I think that it's it's been 2 years, right? So it's not just the last couple months, but just our patience and persistence over the last 2 years. I think that that's really one of our top values is our persistence. And to have persistence, you must be patient. And so I really want to plus one that. I think that if we have a team like that, we're going to end up having a product like that too. And I think that that's really, really important. So thanks for that, Tom. Anything else on this side? I will say something else in that, I'll put it as a delta. I'm not in love with our visual design. In love with our visual design of the app, of Taxman, etc. Again, it's something that I want to love, right? And it's not something that we kind of just said, we don't have a designer. We're gonna take what we have. We're gonna use what we have. We're gonna adjust it as we need and just move forward with it. But ultimately, I also want to love our design, and so I do think that some of the things Brett is working on are going to help. But I would say that it's a delta, a thing that we can improve. That it would be amazing if we were in love with our brand, in love with our design. I think that it would get, if it gets us pumped up, I think it would get other people pumped up. And there are parts of our app where I'm just okay, that's really cool. Even just the splash screen or whatever, I think it's cool, right? There are some things there that I'm okay, that's not bad. But then I'll get in and even some of the things that I have, I did it, right? And the switcher between the home and the card, I just don't love it, right? I want to love it. So that's something that that we can improve, I think. I'm going to take that, Sean John, and put it into Do You Believe in bCard. All right. Any other pluses or deltas? I think another delta I have is that we have not yet directly attacked the hypothesis of community go-to-market. I think that through Nouns, it would have been nice if we could have gotten more beta testers, if we had gotten a better groove of kind of getting feedback. Now I think that it's also just one relationship, and kind of at the point when we were deciding to go with Nouns and Bankless, we kind of put ourselves in a situation where we had this one relationship and they're also kind of busy. I think that as we are able to add more communities, we're going to find a community that we can have a real back and forth with. And that, through that exploration with that community, I think that will make us better as a team. And so I think the next phase as we're building for Fit is really going to be iterating with these communities and testing that hypothesis around our go-to-market strategy of communities. Can we get users through communities? If we can do that, if we can prove that hypothesis, that is one of the biggest things I think that will differentiate us from everything out there, and that will be one of our biggest drivers of success. So if we crack that hypothesis, that would be really interesting for us to do this season. Another thing that I think we could do better, and it is related to some of this general slowness on financial accounting. I would really like to clarify contributor rewards. In general, I have some stuff in my head. I have stated it out loud sometimes, but now that we're having revenue, I think it's really important for us to, and we've literally made $3 in revenue, okay? So it's not a lot, but I do think that it's important for us to kind of clarify some of this. One of the reasons I think that Hazu hasn't been around is I think that the clarity on what the contributor awards can/should be could be a little bit more clear, and that would help people like her stick around. It's not just her though. I mean, it's all the people here. I mean, even myself. I'll share that I haven't really been working for pay as much as I have in the past. Ever since we decided to do this kind of public launch, I've been kind of saying no to a lot of paying clients. And as a result, I also need to see some of this clarity in myself. And I think that clarity will help motivate us too. Because if we see a situation in which we can all be kind of reasonably guaranteed, like let's say X $1,000 a month for our efforts, I think that would help us all plan a little bit better, help us all be able to invest more time. And so I want to create a little bit more clarity around contributor rewards as well this season. Any other pluses or deltas? All right, I'm going to call on people individually now. Who haven't I heard from? Christy, I haven't heard from you.
So I guess for the going well, I think it's sort of a theme. It's resilience, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff's happened in the last few months, and we've just kept on building and putting something out there. So I think that's great. On the things to improve, so like Coffee mentioned about the making sure the payouts go out. I think we also need to start looking at kind of that from a risk management perspective, so that we don't like accidentally or inadvertently pay out more than we should, and get off a sustainable path because of that.
All right, can you say that again? I know it goes here, but I'm trying to think about how to say it. Basically, just like more robustness of our accounting processes. What do you think? You're muted, Arkisti. I'm not sure if you know that. Yeah, you just muted yourself again.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we can hear you.
Okay, my mute and like the microphone thing is somehow not synced with. Probably need to restart Discord or something, because it's showing opposite of what it is. Yeah, so like Coffee Crusher said about automating the accounting process, I think we also need to throw in there like kind of risk management view on that, so that we don't accidentally pay or inadvertently pay out more than we should, because some token value went way up and we have to cover it, things like that, because we want to keep staying on a sustainable path.
Yeah, good point. I think it's a great point, in fact. All right, who haven't I heard from? I think I heard from Corrupted. How about you?
Yeah. I don't think I really have much to contribute. I know that I joined this team relatively recently, over the past this year, let's go with. And I would say that the hardest thing about joining this team, having only one other example of professional experience, I found it hard to gather data, especially writing support articles. Most of the knowledge that I have or that I gained was from word of mouth and talking to other for people on the team, mostly U-Wings. So I guess if you did say we wanted to keep the team relatively small, so maybe this isn't as much of a positive contribution, but a landing page for new members, maybe like a quick little summary of like, hey, here's some documentation you could read. Here's our mission statement.
Yeah. So, and we do have this, but I wonder if it's just not super visible.
I found my way to Notion. I didn't know about a landing page.
Yeah. So it's like it's not much of a landing page, but if you go to like bCard Start Here, that's kind of like let's call it the landing page. It's not great though, as you
But
said.
is that for users or members of the team?
It's for members of the team.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, here I will share the link. Copy link. Here we go. Stick it in here for you. Yeah, but yeah, again, it could certainly be better. All right. Who haven't I heard from? I've heard from. I don't think have I heard from you on pluses and deltas? I don't think I have.
I gave a plus as far as deltas go. I think I mean there's always going to be things that will need improvement in terms of what's at the top of my mind. I think we need to make some decisions around, and I know it's hard to make these decisions, but we need to make some decisions around the card load, crypto card load. I know this is going to be something that people are expecting. They already do expect it. And I know we can't quite do anything with it due to our agreement with our card issuer and the bank. They don't want us to mention crypto. They don't want us to connect to crypto in any way, shape, or form. But that's something that I'm trying to actively work on, is these on-off ramp solutions for our customers. And so, yeah, that for me is something that it feels like a blocker, and the solutions that we've come up with so far have been not quite enough or too expensive. So yeah, I'm still trying to find the right solutions for that. So yeah, the crypto card load situation. And then for the partners, I think setting expectations around what the rewards could realistically look like. I mean, you've just mentioned we've earned $3, and I know we've only got a few users and we're not doing loads of transactions. And we also won't have real numbers until we've been doing this for a few months. But as a partner community, what's going to incentivize them to push this to their members is that incentive. What are they going to get out of it? So this is why on my side of things, it's really about setting some clarification and setting some expectations on what to expect as a partner community with bCard.
Yeah, I think that's really, really important as well, because it allows people to see the dream. One of the things I was thinking, I put it into the potential solutions, is instead of, we have a piece of content that I'm supposed to write called "How Crypto Cards Make Money." I was thinking of narrowing it down into how bCard makes money, because essentially Nicole said you can share our rates. So that's great, which means that we can kind of create a little spreadsheet and even have an article about it. And the nice thing about that is that we can position it as, okay, we are making these rates. This is how much a bank makes. Eventually we could get to there, but right now this is how much we're making. And hey, by the way, if we get more communities involved, if we get more people involved, if we get more transaction revenue, then your cut as a community increases too. I think that selling the dream of not just for you and your community, but selling the dream of, if all of these Web3 communities combine into one Megazord, if that's what you think of it as one, what is basically Power Rangers ripped off another Japanese show, as well, which had tigers, which came together. But if we bring all these communities together,
It's Voltron you're thinking of.
Voltron, exactly. So if you bring everything together like this big Voltron, then Web3 can have a champion as well that is funneling money from the traditional banking system. I think like showing the dream is really important for our partner communities. Related to crypto card load, I mean, the thing that's going to make this happen for us, NF Thinker, is if we have more transaction volume. As this is like, I would say the cynical and also realistic view. If we're driving, like let's say 30 million in transaction volume for our bank every month, they're going to be way more willing to take a reputational risk on us than if we're driving like $3 in transactional revenue, right? So, or $3,000 in transactional revenue. So that's what I think we really need to concentrate on. If we get transaction volume, then the crypto card load is going to be a lot easier for us to execute.
Yeah, I totally appreciate that as well. And just to specify, I don't recall Nicole saying we could share the data, just that she didn't say we couldn't share the data. As far as we know, she said there's no NDA. So that is pretty much a green light for us to go ahead and talk about those things. And that's how we can double down on network effect, right? We say to people, the more communities we have on board, the more transactions we create, the more revenue we're going to be generating per transaction. And then that rising tide lifts all ships.
Exactly. So I think if we concentrate on that right now, which is exactly why we're aiming, like our goal right now is to increase transaction volume. You know, that's why we're always talking about transaction volume first thing in our weekly notes. If we can make transaction volume higher, everything else is going to get better. One, we're going to be able to get things like crypto card load because the bank is going to be like okay with that because we're driving transactions. Two, we're going to be able to pay contributors. We're going to be able to, which is going to allow us to work more on it. Three, we're going to be able to pay communities, which is going to make, first of all, those communities more excited to use bCard and spread the word. And second, make more communities want to join us. And I think like all of this is, it's all behind that idea of transaction volume. We are coming up on the end here. In terms of themes, I'll look for some, but I think like, some of the themes include things like using automation to help us increase capacity without increasing team. What else? Other kinds of things. Any themes anyone wants to call out? Resilience, I think, kept coming up. Resilience. We should keep this as a team. I think we talked about teamwork. I really like this idea of people having each other's backs. I really like how Rainus and Coffee Crusher feel like they have each other's backs. I will even put it as a positive that I love how when I post things, people give me feedback. I really love that. I think it's amazing. So teamwork / having each other's backs includes things like feedback, support, help, etc. So Sean John, to increase transaction volumes, we really need to do two things. One, get more users, and our biggest way to get more users right now is to add more communities. Now that we're in public beta, we can start adding more communities. The one thing that, I wouldn't say it's blocking us, but the one thing that is more important than adding more communities is to get our rewards flow kind of pretty tight, which it is not at the moment, primarily due to me. But like I took on this big refactor, which I hope to finish most of it today, or this week, let's say, but ultimately we'll be able to start adding communities. More communities means more users means more transaction volumes. Any actions that we can take to improve? Feel free to call out any themes or actions. You can unmute now. I know that we're already over, and if you have to leave, feel free. And if you have something to say, feel free as well.
I wanted to say that I wasn't from my profile in this meeting, but I definitely listened to everything, and I'm so excited that we have a live product to launch, and we just have to add more communities, improve the app, and distribute our message all across the world, and we will have great success. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, if no one has anything else to add, I will just take a few seconds to just say thank you. I think gratitude is really important, and so I try to end every meeting with gratitude. In case you haven't noticed, but you can notice it now. Thank you for partaking in this journey with me. I think that for me, the means never justifies the ends, or the ends rather never justifies the means. In fact, it is the means which determines the end that you get. So if we try to create a resilient product by being unsustainable, that's just not possible. If we try to create a friendly product by being mean to each other in the team, that's not going to help. So whatever it is, however we conduct ourselves now, that is going to determine the type of product that we end up with, the type of team and organization that we end up with. So as long as we keep building with these positive vibes, as long as we keep building with things like resilience and teamwork and automation and all these kinds of things, because we don't have these deadlines, we can take the time to be better. And if we are better, we will produce something better. That is the underlying hypothesis around this whole thing. And that is the reason why I'm here, is to build a next generation organization. So thank you for embarking with me on this non-standard journey, on this journey that has never been done before, on this adventure that no one has ever done. And we're not even sure if we can succeed. But at least from this meeting, we have seen that at least all the people who we're working with do believe we can succeed. And as long as we keep working with these people, I think that we'll get there eventually. So thank you very much for being on this journey. And I can't wait to keep moving forward with all of you. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.